There we go. Right. Welcome to RunChatLive, episode 32, live from Brighton, UK. Nice to see you again. For those of you who are listening to the podcast, then do try and join us live at some point, if you can. I know the time zones might muck you around a bit, but you can get so much more from the live version. On Facebook Live, you can talk to the guests, ask questions, that sort of stuff. So, but anyway, if you are joining us live, then thank you very much. 32 we are now. It's been a month. Last time we were here, we were chatting to Mike James, set a new record at being the only guest to come back twice on the show. But it was an excellent time to come back, because he came back with Malcolm Sloan, who is the creator of Sportsinjuryfix. And even since they were on, I've noticed so many therapists switching over to Sportsinjuryfix. It's a fantastic site which not only gives you a platform to advertise your services and for runners to find therapists, but also it's a booking system which therapists can use in clinic. They've got loads of advantages there. I mean, to give you an idea of how popular it's becoming, you may well have seen a few weeks ago, Colin Jackson, the Olympic and world champion, has signed up as one of their ambassadors, which is, I imagine, very, very exciting for them, and well deserved. So yeah, that was episode 31 about a month ago. We were chatting about how to find a good therapist, how to kind of tell whether this person's going to be able to help you or not, because there is a lot of variance out there, I'm sorry to say, and a variance amongst different careers. Just because you're a physio doesn't mean you're going to be better than a sports therapist, and vice versa. Not all chiropractors are practicing old-fashioned manipulations and things. There's definitely plenty of good quality chiropractors who move with the times, and the same goes with osteopaths and podiatrists. And so we need kind of people like Sportsinjuryfix to help kind of let runners and all sorts of people know whether the therapist they're going to see is evidence-based or not. And that brings us on also to today, which is another great platform which has been around now. The Trust Me, I'm a Physiotherapist started off as a Facebook group and suddenly exploded. And then you've got the whole TrustMe-Ed videos and presentations and workshops online, again, with exactly the same principles which here at RunChatLive we operate from, putting the evidence back into injury management, pain management. So I'm very excited shortly to be bringing you Nils Oudhuis, who that's excellent presentation. I can hear him myself. We'll be chatting to him about that and how he came. I mean, he's been through the problems which we all have ourselves in becoming qualified, realizing that half of what we learned isn't that applicable. He's had the challenges, the doubts, the imposter syndromes. That was another great post, which actually I saw thanks to Nils, Greg Lehman's post about telling therapists to give yourself a break. You know, there's a lot of therapists, especially in today's climate where on social media you can be challenged so easily, so quickly. People are almost scared to put a question out there or a comment out there or a paper out there, because it's so easy now for the trolls to kind of jump on you and say, oh, but haven't you seen this paper? And no, that's wrong because this and that. And that's not how it's supposed to be at all, you know. So it's okay to have self-doubt, to make mistakes, to talk out, to ask questions on social media. That's what it's for. So that was a great post by Greg Lehman. What else before we bring Nils up? I was away. Hopefully some of you saw my little 10 in 10 challenge where I was on holiday, and for me it was easy. I had all-inclusive holiday and a pool waiting for me, but I ran 10k a day for 10 days, and mainly to offer you people, and the challenge is still open if you want it. If you currently run about 30 miles a week, there's an important caveat, I don't want anyone out there injuring themselves, and you're interested in coming along to the RunChatLive conference in October, in Brighton, UK, then there's still a guaranteed way of getting yourself £100 discount off the tickets by running 10k a day for 10 days. We've had quite a few people doing that, and I'm gladly handing out these £100 vouchers because they deserve it. You know, you can also get someone else to do the challenge for you if you're not up to it because you don't currently run about 30 miles a week. Then if you know a runner who can do that, get them to do it for you. they give you the voucher, bam, you come down to Brighton and spend the £100 on cocktails or dinner. Because I'm also pleased to say that Las Iguanas in Brighton is going to be the official restaurant for the night on the Wednesday night. All the speakers will be dining there. If you are coming down to Brighton, especially if you're traveling from far and you're looking for a night out to mix with speakers and other guests, then I'll be putting details about that on social media and on the Eventbrite page with a phone number in case you want to. I recommend you do probably pre-order the menu on there so you don't get there and you have to wait for ages. It's going to be, as well as a great conference, it's going to be a great social event as well at Las Iguanas in Brighton. Which is a Mexican restaurant, but they've got everything, and they've got 2-for-1 cocktails all night long, which I'm not going to lie was quite a steering point as well. But anyway, right, that's my rather long intro, but I've been away for a month, so apologies for that. So Nils Oudhuis, we're going to bring up shortly. Like I say, Trust Me, I'm a Physiotherapist, and TrustMe-Ed, 2 fantastic platforms for therapists to educate themselves. We're going to listen to Nils talk about why he set them up in the first place. As with so many cases of these quality platforms, it comes from personal experience, personal struggles. I think there'll be points that he'll raise and we'll talk about today, which many therapists, especially new therapists, it'll be useful to listen to. We're going to talk about the state of continuing education. CPD is a topic which I'm often harping on about. I mean, it was only early on today that I suddenly thought of the tagline, which I kind of wish I thought of 2 weeks ago. CPD, is it tailored for the therapist or the patient? I'm kicking myself now because that's I think such an important question. CPD in theory is supposed to be designed to provide better service to patients. That should be, is this CPD a quality course? Is it going to help people get out of pain or injury? And I fear I'm going to put it to Nils during the discussion that maybe some of the CPD out there today is designed and tailored towards making, I don't want to sound too cynical, but making therapists actually spend their money, making therapists think this is what I need. It's got a great acronym name. Patients don't care about acronyms. Why do so many CPD courses have 3 letters with dots in between them? Because it grabs therapists by the cojones and makes them think, I need this. Yeah, I need this course because I need to be an AGT or a DFE or something, you know. Patients don't care about that. Patients just want to get out of pain and back on the track or whatever it is they're doing. So that's something we'll be talking about today. At the end of the show, we'll talk about, I've got some great speakers coming up for you in the next 3 or 4 weeks. It's full forwards now, ready for the conference in October. So yeah, stay with us and do feel free to ask questions and leave comments. And there we go. Right, so without further doubt, I'm going to hopefully, this is the first time I've used this system to bring someone up. There we go. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yay, and I can see you. So it looks like, bam, we're in. Fantastic. How are you doing?
Very good. You?
Thank you for being so patient. I'm sorry about such a lengthy intro, but it's been a while. I haven't been able to talk to people for ages. So
no worries.
Thanks for joining us. Thank you so much. Where are you talking from at the moment?
From Amsterdam. And thank you for having me, by the way.
Oh no, my pleasure. I've been a fan of your site for a long time. You put out so much information. We all know social media these days, you have to kind of target the people you're going to listen to, because otherwise it's just impossible. So you've been in my follow list and notify me when you post things for a long time, because you're a great conduit of quality information. So it's great to have a chance to talk to you.
Thank you.
And also I love bringing in people out of their comfort zone, because you're not normally in front of the camera, are you?
For sure. This is for sure out of my comfort zone, and I'm happy to be out of my comfort zone, by the way.
That's wicked. That's probably part of what makes you such a great disseminator of information. You're not unhappy to be put out of your comfort zone. But yeah, it's pretty fine. There's no stress here. We'll have a few people. Oh, Mike James is in the house, so there's no one who looks worse on camera than Mike. So there you go. Afternoon, sir, he says. About to teach Junior to ride without his stabilizers. I think that's a metaphor for you coming on live on a podcast, maybe. He's going to watch in full tonight. Thanks, Mike. Have fun with your kids. That was another. I don't know if you saw it. You haven't got children yourself, have you?
Sorry?
Have you got children yourself, Nils?
No.
No. So I've got two, 4 and 2-year-old, and Mike has as well. And Mike put out a really good post recently, which won't ring much for you, but it was just a post which stood out from all the other therapy posts and stuff, in just apologizing for not being around so much for a week, because, as he said in his own words, I'm only going to get one chance to watch my kids grow up. And so I've got to make time for that. And inside I felt like oh my God, it's true. Because so many times I'm just looking at the watch and thinking, oh, when can these kids go? I've got to get online. I've got to do this. I've got to send in this article and stuff. And it's dangerous when you're a dad to miss that time, especially in our business, when you're kind of looking for stuff to repost and put out there as much as possible. So Mike, if you're still here watching or you're listening later on, that was a great post. As I said to you, it was a brilliant wake-up call for anybody, mums and dads with kids. But yeah, so well done. So right, over to you, Nils. What are we going to start off with? Let's start off with a little bit about your history, maybe. Talk us through the timeline, because I think it's a history which a lot of people will be able to sympathize with, having suffered it themselves, especially the periods of self-doubt and confusion. So yeah, take it away.
Thank you. I started as a physiotherapist in 2011 in Amsterdam, the southern part of Amsterdam, and there was one. My first job was an employer and me, so a two person practice. And after the summer, I started in February. He wanted to have the website of the practice higher on Google. So I heard about link building, and I thought, okay, let's make a Facebook page where we can make links go to the website of the clinic, and this way it could come higher on Google. Well, I started it, and I was following on Facebook a Facebook page called Trust Me, I'm a Traveler, and I loved it. Great post about traveling and stuff, and I love traveling, so I liked it. So I thought, okay, let's try Trust Me, I'm a Physiotherapist, if that is free. And it was free, so I made that one, and I invited my friends, so I got and a family and stuff, so 100 followers. I was very happy with that. And then I tried to make it like 200 and 300, and pretty competitive, so I like to see that bar higher. And then I was also starting with manual therapy, a master's in manual therapy at the SOMT in Holland. And there I learned a lot about manual therapy, of course, about evidence-based, how to appraise scientific articles. So that was great, and I wanted to share that with the people on Facebook. So I made posts about it and stuff, and that was nice. And I was very happy with 1,000 followers. I rushed home to thank everybody. Yeah. And then I was trying to see, okay, on Google, how can you get more followers on Facebook and stuff. So I investigated a bit, and then slowly it went higher. And yeah.
And what at this point how was your own practice at this point? Because I've read things in the past by you which kind of indicated that you weren't a natural student, were you?
Oh no, I wasn't so good at school.
That's what I was trying to say in a nice way.
Well, my high school is normally 5 years, and I took 7 years. After one time, I had to go to another school because I failed twice in a row, and there I also got delayed. And then a physiotherapy school, I normally it's 4 years in Holland. I did it in 6 years. So yeah, I think and the internships didn't go so well. I had 6 in total, normally 3, and I failed 3 times. So
Have you got any? I mean, the common theme in this history of failure is you, but is there any particular reason why you think it was difficult for you, or what was going on?
yeah, I'm a shy, insecure guy from natural, or I was maybe, and um, and I didn't want to make mistakes or show myself so much, like being vulnerable. And I think that was very difficult because in internship you have to show yourself and try new things and be vulnerable. And I didn't wanted to do that, or I couldn't. So that I hit a wall all the time. And then I was in my last internship. I was going to a good practice. I heard from in Muiden, the city, was a good practice, and they said like in the beginning, we are a highly rated clinic for our patients and also for our staff. We have a high standard. So are you up to the task? And my ego said, yes, of course. And I didn't want to say no, so I said yes. And then, yeah, I tried. In the first week, after the first week, I thought I was doing pretty well. I thought I was a good student. And then they gave me in like in a paper A4 with a list all the things I didn't go well or didn't do right. So that was not so nice to see, of course. And
Did they precede it with kind of things which you had done right, or was just a totally negative report?
only negative. I,
Ugh.
I haven't had one compliment. I think maybe I didn't hear it so well, but yeah, there's a good practice.
Yeah. I wonder whether, I mean, what sort of people, if you're going to get into physiotherapy and healthcare, I wonder whether most people who get into it are naturally a little bit more introverted or sensitive. The fact that they want to get into a career which helps other people. I don't know. I can't imagine someone who's very confident and brash wanting to get into that. They'd be thinking more about themselves. I wonder whether there's a link there. In your experience with students you've seen, or do you think that quite a few people, could you generalize that quite a few people who get into healthcare are actually need that bit more support because that's the kind of personality they have?
I don't know. I think I'm a pretty emotional person, and I used to also hide that a lot, and now I'm happy
Yeah.
to say that I don't care so much about it. Well, I do care, of course, what other people think. It's also good to just be honest.
Yeah.
Um, I
I
think,
think you read you had like an epiphany, a moment, didn't you? Weren't you on holiday in Greece or something where you thought, "Oh my God, I know what's going wrong now."
yeah. So my last internship, after the weeks come in, all the list of things that didn't go well came in. After 10 weeks, a person from school came in to help or to see what's going on, because this was my last internship chance. If
Right.
I failed this one, I had to, yeah, I don't know what to do,
Yeah.
change my career. So, and then it was a bit personal, I think, or not on the man, but just a personal feeling that it didn't go well. And I cried there. And I think always crying is always good because it removes some baggage of you and then you can grow further. Um, so I cried there and I went on. It went a little bit better, but not so much. In week 14 or something, I went on holiday to Greece with two friends, and it was very relaxing, of course, so I could just think. No social media, so that worked well. And then I had an epiphany, or just a thought. It's all about me. I was the person to blame. I was the fault in this whole cascade of failures in school and physiotherapy school and internships. Yeah, because what I just said, I wasn't vulnerable enough. I wasn't open enough, and all these qualities. And then it was like a weight off my shoulder, and then I could relax and just try to focus on what I have to do instead of all my insecurities and anxieties. It went more focused, and yeah, it went well after that. And yeah, my last exam, and they gave me a list of the things I did, like my scorecard, all like fives and six until from 0 to 10, 5 to 6 and sevens, only one eight, and that was being stubborn, the stubbornness. And he liked that a lot because I think it's also a good quality. Or it can also be very difficult, but yeah, that's how I went through my internships.
Brilliant. So so what sort of material did you start putting out on the Trust Me, I'm a Physiotherapist Facebook page to start off?
Yeah, sometimes you get from Facebook like those reminders from past posts, right?
Yeah.
When I see that, I think it's pretty biomechanical and really like manual therapy focused.
Yeah.
Um, now, if I see that, I don't agree with it. Mostly, sometimes I do still, but most of the time I not. So it's funny to see my own evolving in through social media posting because I got a lot of feedback from that.
Yeah. That's quite healthy though, isn't it? It's quite healthy to remind you that we've all been there. We've all said things which, if we are evolving therapists, are bound to change in years. It's bound to change.
That's how it should be, I think.
Yeah, exactly. If you're still spouting out the same stuff which you were saying 10 years ago, then something's probably gone pretty wrong, I would
Yeah,
say. Most, definitely with healthcare provision anyway.
for sure.
And you started working with some quite big names, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I asked Karen Litzy if she wanted to interview a few people on Facebook Live. Karim Khan from BJSM, Emma Stokes from the WCPT, Peter O'Sullivan. This was a great interview, by the way, where she was the patient and he was interviewing her as a therapist,
Brilliant.
which is on TrustMe-Ed, by the
Yeah.
way, for free. And yeah, that was a great way. And some other webinars by Ben Cormack and Greg Lehman, Chief Esculier, and Chris Johnson from the running conference. So yeah, that was great.
Yeah, there's some good names there. Obviously, I mean, you're just kind of tickling my confirmation bias now. You've pretty much named all the speakers I've got at the conference in October, but which I'm always wary about because it is tricky. We do kind of put ourselves in a little bit of a bubble. Maybe we all kind of think we're singing from the page that's right, but it's useful to remember, isn't it, that there are other therapists out there who might be saying something useful. But yeah, it's tricky. I mean, how did the Facebook page then become the TrustMe-Ed website? How much time was there between those two?
2012, I started a Facebook page, and 1.5 years ago, I started together with Jorn Stian Lauritsen, my partner from Norway, the TrustMe-Ed. So 1.5 years ago it started, and 2 years ago or something, he asked me to do this in English because he was starting this already 5 years ago in Norwegian successfully, and he wanted to help, or he wanted to partner with me for the English community.
Yeah. And was it tricky at first? It's always tricky, I think, because obviously there's a lot that's free on the TrustMe-Ed website, which people can watch, like you mentioned, the Peter Sullivan and Karen Litzy interview and that. But how was it received initially where you started charging people to see content? Was that tricky, or did you feel was it weird for you after doing so much free stuff on Facebook, or did you think, no, people need to be paying for this?
Yeah, it's always weird to ask people for money, that's for sure. It would be awesome if everything was for free. But yeah, you will also have some costs to organize the filming, to film, to pay the camera guys and stuff, and a lot of other stuff. So yeah, that's it cannot be for free for that. And well, $9.99, and if you have a yearly subscription, it's even less per month. Yeah, you can also.
It's definitely not a lot of money. I mean, people like yourself who I follow, it can mount up if you're following 10 people at the same time. So you have to kind of like periodize it maybe. But yeah, I mean, what is it at the moment on TrustMe-Ed, did you say, for a yearly subscription?
99 euros.
Yeah. So you're talking about kind of like, less than £9 a month or something which when you think about it, I mean, that's like 3 cappuccinos or frappe lattes or something. It's not a lot of money, is it, per month?
Yeah.
But yeah, people get so much for free these days. I think there's almost a presumption that everyone's going to work for free, which is a bit unhealthy because, like you say, there are overheads, aren't there?
For sure. And it's better, I think, because you have a platform, or one platform where you can find a lot of good stuff instead of social media. You have to search everywhere through different accounts. So that was also a good thing. That's what I saw from the Facebook page. That was my problem also. And I wanted to help myself and other people to make it easier to stay up to date. And this is one way of doing that.
So how did TrustMe-Ed grow then? So you say it was a year and a half ago, did you say?
Year and a half ago, yeah.
Yeah. And how have things gone for that?
Yeah, it's going all right. I'm very pleased of how many people are joining. Um, and of course, it can always be more because it has to be. I think the whole physiotherapy community should learn the same stuff because then you can grow as a profession faster. And we've talked about it before. I think there are a lot of other people there are so many physiotherapists who are thinking still in the old-fashioned way, like the biomedical way. There's pain in the back, there has to be something damaged in the back. Yeah, and that's not always the case. It's more broader, more complex than that, I think. And and all the lectures, of course, are about the biopsychosocial model or embracing it for sure. And
So
I
who are
like
some of the videos which are some of the most popular videos you've got on the TrustMe-Ed website?
Jill Cook
Yeah.
about tendinopathy. That is
Yeah.
a big name, of course. Sigbjørn Hjorthoog. That's a Norwegian guy. I don't know if I pronounce his name the best, but his courses about back pain, neck pain, and shoulder pain are very popular. Also because it is more practical. You can see the theory, but also how you do it in practice. That's very interesting. And shoulder, neck lectures.
Yeah. Is it all in English, or are there translations available, or?
English subtitles, and now almost all have Spanish, Portuguese, Italian, or French subtitles. Yeah.
Brilliant. Oh, fantastic. Yeah, it's definitely it's definitely a worthwhile resource. We'll make sure that links are put to it in the show notes and in the comments down below here. I know it as a therapist myself. It's so tricky when it does feel like it's just, you should check this out and this out and this out and this out. And you've got like these 50 different sources of information, but I think that's part of the problem. It doesn't mean you've got to stop checking places out. So if you are a therapist out there and you just think, oh God, not another site I need to be connected to, try not to feel too disheartened, because again, things do evolve. I remember sites I used to look at 10 years ago who I don't bother going into anymore because they haven't evolved. You know, the information changes. And that's the other thing. If you are going to update your websites, then often you do have to kind of, change your posts and tweak them, and not necessarily delete them, because you shouldn't be ashamed of them. Like you said, some of your memory posts that come up, you're like, oh my God, did I write that? That's terrible. But I think, Paul Ingram, I think, is an example of that with his, it used to be saveyourself.net. That was one of the kind of pioneers who I remember looking at and started challenging, introducing me to other ways of thinking. And he still regularly updates articles originally from 99, 2001. It says last updated 2019. He's forever going in there tweaking things. And that's how it should be. It's a lot of work. You probably need a staff of people to help you to keep it up to date. But definitely therapists, check it out. And also you've got people coming over to Holland as well, haven't you, to give live talks as well?
Yeah, Lorimer Moseley, he's coming back again in Amsterdam, 27th and 28th of June.
Wow.
And he's a great speaker, he's a great presenter and researcher. He's awesome.
Okay, yeah. And Amsterdam's not that far. I mean, I've only been there once, but it really isn't that far away from the UK, is it?
No.
I think it's quite a reasonable flight as well. I mean, I went there quite a while ago, but it's not that expensive, is it?
No, it's like €100 and 50 minutes from London.
Fantastic. Which is how I convinced you to come over to RunChatLive conference in October. It's not so far away. I know our government is making a lot of countries feel like a long way away by their politics, but physically speaking, yeah, Europe is not that far away at all. So there's no reason you shouldn't really jump on a plane to go and see a conference in Amsterdam rather than traveling up to Manchester or, you know, Nottingham or something. It's not that much of a difference, really. Brilliant. So yes, I think I mentioned off air, and it will fit in nicely to this whole topic of education. I saw on Facebook, I got involved in a conversation, I think about a week ago or something, which was about, I think it was physiotherapists maybe, or it could have been sports therapists, but they were talking about a desire to get involved in visits to offices and companies to help with the ergonomics and that sort of stuff. And I could see from the thread there was quite a lot of traditional ideas of posture. People were suggesting that, you know, just get some of those posters and how you can help by recommending computer, you know, like the screen height and all that sort of stuff. So straight away I started like feeling my shoulders going up, thinking, guys, you shouldn't be talking about this sort of stuff. It's so not current. And I got a bit of feedback from a post, just a reply I put. And rather than replying individually to all of them, I thought maybe we'd have a quick chat today, because it's something that's you've probably in your own studies and on the material you put on TrustMe-Ed, and that posture is something which has probably come up quite a lot. Do you remember in your studies when you were originally kind of growing as a therapist, learning about the traditional kind of assumptions of posture?
I think so, a long time ago, but I think about like you have to like a line, and then you have to check your asymmetries and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, and then if somebody came in with shoulder pain and you noticed that one shoulder was higher than the other, it was kind of happy days, wasn't it? You had something to pursue, and then maybe you'd kind of do some kind of manual therapy technique, and then you'd retest them afterwards, and maybe they did come in like that, and then suddenly they were like that. Patient's happy, you're happy, and they give you the money, and they might even be a bit pain-free. They definitely feel better when you've drawn those little. I remember I used to get people to put their back against the wall and get a biro and just kind of show them. I was so happy when someone came in like that, saying they had pain, and I'd get a little biro and make them walk away from the wall, and then they'd see how one dot was higher than the other. It was like, and then we'd do it again, and they were level, and it was like happy days. But there's a problem to this, isn't there?
For sure. I think posture is a hot topic indeed. Everybody is thinking about it and have been taught on school about posture. You have to, like, there's pain. Okay, then you're going to do your assessment. First thing is your look. You're going to inspect. That's the first thing you are taught on physio school. So yeah, that is just very important in the minds of physiotherapists, which is very understandable. But then, yeah, and if you also have the biomechanical beliefs, pain equals damage, then you're really going to search for things that is going to cause it, like more pressure on this side, and you know. But I think posture is could be important if you're sitting like this all day, very straight up. Then you're going to be in pain. But also, if you're going to slouch for 8 hours, then your back is also going to be hurting a little bit. It's not saying that it's damaged, but it is more like, well, those tissues are saying to your brain, come on, let's do something else. Let's move, because that's what I like. And yeah, that's how I see it. And with if you try to check everything in the work places, like the screen height and whatever, could be important if that is if there's too much strain on tissues, maybe because of if you have your mouse too high all the time for 8 hours, yeah, that's not so nice. Maybe you have to change a little bit. But changing, moving, I think that's the most important thing. No static postures.
Yeah, it's the changing and the moving, and it doesn't necessarily matter whether you are. I mean, for somebody who's always got their mouse down low, it would probably provide some relief if they put their mouse up a little bit higher for a while, or if they put their mouse on the other side, or yeah, like you say, it's the motion, isn't it? The motion's the lotion, the famous kind of quote. So yeah, so I mean, have you ever done visits, kind of occupational therapy visits to offices or anything, and anything like that? I used to do some myself. Go on.
my former employer, my first job, he was an expert in that, and he had like mouses who are tilted like this, so you have your hand in an anatomical position. And I first thought when I saw his website, I thought, oh, this is very good. I can learn about this because I thought it was important in 2011. Well, then I also saw very quickly that it wasn't so important anymore. That other things are more important. So yeah, again, you see something, you try something out, you test something, and then you see if it works or not. And if it doesn't work, you just try something else.
Yeah, there's a lot to that. I remember, I mean, the advice I gave to this person, which I think is quite important, is first of all, it's the variety. I mean, although you get someone like Greg Lehman, who's like looking at every single paper that comes out every single second of the day, there's not necessarily a lot of support or evidence that shows that variety is the kind of secret to success and pain-free existence. But it, like you say, it kind of makes sense. If you're stuck in one position for a long period of time, then those tissues are getting overloaded, and you're going to get feedback to the brain that's going to say, well, come on, let's move out of that position. If you don't, the pain's going to get louder, etc., etc. You're not necessarily damaging yourself, but you're creating, you're sensitizing the system, and it might then start becoming less accurate and sending out pain quicker and that sort of stuff. So yeah, just move to a different position. But that doesn't mean at any point there's any one position which is going to be pain-free for 8 hours. And I think posture is a good subject and topic to clear up a lot of these myths and misconceptions, because once you understand that, you start opening your eyes to the fact that, what about all the people who walk into my clinic who are like that, but they're not in shoulder pain? They've come in with an Achilles problem. What about the people who, it always gets me when someone walks into the clinic, and this is just being human, they walk in, they're like that, and you're thinking, oh wow, they've got pain, and they go, no, this is the shoulder that's hurting. But you forget about that. You don't remember that. You just remember the people who walk in like this, or the people who you can't put back to that again, or the people who you kind of put back to them, but they're still in pain. So our biases, we kind of know now, and I'm sure a lot of the people, Peter Sullivan in particular, is very clear on the lack of correlation between symmetry and pain. It's just, it's a nice, easy way to plan your treatment with somebody, find some asymmetry and try and correct it. But it just doesn't hold tight, does it? Water-wise, not waterproof when it comes to reality.
Yeah, about Peter Sullivan, I liked his example, what he showed in one video with his fist. If you make a fist, I showed it to patients also. If you make a fist, okay, and then hold this for a long time, and then try to move like this. This is all kind of grinds and creaks and whatever. And if you just try to relax, it's much easier. And if people are holding their backs all the time with core stability, or you have some beliefs that you have to keep static postures, also in your neck, it gets a lot of tension. And then if you move, that is not nice. And yeah, I think there's always a nice example from Peter Sullivan and what he shows.
Well, he's full of them, isn't he? Yeah, he's full of great practical. That's why he's such a great speaker. Have you had him speak? Oh no, you went to see him, didn't you, recently? Or
3 times already now, or 3.5 actually, in Melbourne also one time.
yeah,
And it is awesome. I think this is great. Very beautiful to see how he treats people in chronic low back pain. And if the whole room thinks like, okay, this person is coming now in and with crutches and back pain and doesn't dare to bend over, and then everybody thinks like, I really don't know what to do with this kind of patient. I will just lay her down and massage and just hope for a better one next half an hour. But then you see like his motivational interviewing techniques, and all kind of other communication techniques, and then trying to turn his whole story around and making them feel with expectancy violation. They think they cannot bend, but he who makes them bend, he is confronting their fears and confronting their fears. What they fear the most, they are going to do, and that's really powerful. Can be very powerful. and it's beautiful to see.
So that's a course you'd recommend
For sure.
therapists attend, yeah?
All
Yeah.
CFT, like also from Kjartan Viversum, Wim Donkaerts,
Mm.
everybody.
Yeah. But of course, if they haven't got money to go and see them, then they can get all these videos. You've got quite a lot of Peter Sullivan on the TrustMe-Ed website, have you?
Yeah, it's coming up also. We filmed his patient, how do you say, interviews and stuff in his
Mm.
assessment. And we're going to put it also on Trust Me-Ed, indeed, yeah. I also,
Fantastic. That's good.
I also interviewed him, and I was really nervous for that, but it went all right, I think.
You were nervous, what? Because you'd followed him for so long and then finally had a face-to-face encounter?
Yeah, yeah. Well, he has some YouTube videos, and then you see him in that room, right? That's the big theater room with James Davis, and then you're doing it yourself.
Mm.
This is awesome, I think, but also very nerve-wracking.
I always wonder, because I don't know whether he still does it, but it is quite a stage, one person up there, him working as if it was in a clinic with everyone watching. How much does that kind of interfere, though, with, it's not a realistic situation, is it? Does that interfere at all, like the expectations? And doesn't the person on stage feel a bit kind of like, I've got 100 people watching me?
For sure, I think that is a very big problem. Also, Peter also said the same. Like, this is
Oh,
not what I want actually, but this is a great way to show everybody how it can be
right.
done.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because if the patient is coming like, oh, a very famous professor is going
Mm,
to treat you, and he is a very kind guy, and then he uses a lot of good techniques, and 300 people are watching. Oh, these are a lot of other factors, contextual factors, that are very important, I think.
yeah. Yeah, I've always wanted to go and see him. I've always kind of, something else has come up, but yeah, I will have to see. Maybe I'll pop over to Amsterdam in June next year and have a little look. Cool. Okay. So yeah. So for people who I did promise a little bit of help with how, because I think it is you can do so much as a physio or a healthcare practitioner going into a workplace. But it's not all about setting these ideal optimum parameters which people need to sit at. I think, as Nils has just said, it's about just getting variety. It's you can't get away from the fact that if you're sitting in the same position for 45 minutes, an hour, then your body's going to start hurting. And if you do that day in, day in, day in, then that pain could well increase sensitivity and maybe lead to more chronic pain, which is going to be more difficult to get rid of. So it's just encouraging people to have breaks. But I think one of the biggest bits of advice I put on this post was, to make a difference, you've got to go to the team leader. You've got to go to the manager. You've got to go and let them know that, you know what, if you want to have less people getting off, taking time off because of back pain or because of stress related issues, which is the number one cause in the UK, I think, of staff absences, you've got to be happy for people to stand up and move around. You've got to be happy for people to stand up and talk on the phone with an ear set instead of sitting down with one arm on there, you know. Because if the staff feel guilty about moving around and being more physical and active, then they're not going to do it, you know, because they're worried about their job and that. So you've got to persuade the line manager first of all, and so that the staff feel easy and happy to do it. I've always wondered whether there's a correlation. It'd be interesting study to see people who do go out every half an hour for a cigarette break. I wonder whether, because they're more mobile, they do actually tend to suffer less from back pain and kind of like repetitive strain syndrome on their wrists, because they're getting more breaks. They're outside chatting, talking, you know, rather than
True.
the person who's indoors. I don't know. Be an interesting study.
But also, smoking is a risk factor for low back pain. So yeah, that's also maybe counterbalancing.
Yeah, potentially. Well, we all know that sitting is the new smoking, so no, I was joking that, and you need to look up articles if you read that. Although they did show an interesting thing related to runners, which I've put out there as well. That paper that did come out, which was kind of headlined and put in to a lot of media sources, that smoking is the new sitting. It was kind of just highlighting the fact that if you do sit down for 8 hours a day, if you're already prone to certain cardiovascular diseases, then you may well be increasing the chance of those. I think diabetes came up as well. It's not going to cause it, but if you're already susceptible because of other factors, then you might be increasing the risk. But an interesting stat that came out of that for me was if you sit down for 8 hours a day at work, you're not going to undo that by going for a run in the morning or the evening. The metabolic kind of pooling that happens during those 8 hours, your body's slowing down. The kind of potential damage or increase in risk has happened. It's happened. And even if you suddenly go out for a run in the evening, it's no good. Which kind of showed at the end of the day, we're not designed just to stay still for 8 hours. It's as simple as that, isn't it? You know, you can invent all the chairs in the world you want, and all of the clever mouses and all of the wrist things and all of these wonderful things you can buy online. But at the end of the day, you just got to get up and have a little twirl, move around, even if it's just for a minute or two, and get your next posture. It's the next posture is your best posture. That's the thing which people need to realize. There's no one thing. What's standing desks like? Holland is quite progressive, isn't it? Don't a lot of the good ideas and new stuff come out of Holland, or is that just is that not true?
I don't know.
Huh? I always had this idea that you guys are quite kind of clued up and quite progressive, and
could be. Yeah, I don't know about it, but I wanted to say about we are not designed to sit. Indeed, I think if you just look 200 years ago, we were not sitting all the time. We were walking. Because we didn't have a car, we had to walk everywhere. We had to get our own food. We didn't have toilets, so we had to go down, to the ground, whatever. All the things we have now, like couches, whatever, they didn't have so much. Or we had to hunt for our food. So walking all the time, crouching, sitting. So yeah, that's how we are designed to think our bodies, and we're not designed to sit all the time.
yeah. Definitely, yeah. We are progressively moving less and less. Even not so many years ago, you had to get up to the printer or get up to the fax, or you didn't have your mobile phone on you. You had to walk over to the telephone. I think there must be a correlation. Well, I don't know, say must, but it's very likely there's a correlation. We know that movement's the history of a healthy body. It is the motion that helps. So, yeah, it's a good point. Yeah.
Sure.
Which is why all you people in Amsterdam are so healthy, because you just all live on bikes all the time, don't you?
Sure.
Is that still the case?
We have more bikes than people in Amsterdam. I heard.
That's incredible. No, like I said, I've been there for a long time, but yeah, beautiful place. I definitely would like to come back again. Okay, right. So yeah, Peter Sullivan, we've talked about. Is there anyone else who you kind of let's blow someone's trumpet. Anyone else who you've kind of seen or you've been particularly impressed with in the last few months who you'd recommend that physiotherapists or other healthcare professionals check out?
Courses or for courses or for
Either for going for live or for checking out on the content you've got on your website. Who else would you get therapists to beeline for?
UK maybe he is a bit more famous or popular, but S. James,
Okay.
he is awesome. He surprised me with his back pain lecture on TrustMe-Ed. He is awesome, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, Jill Cook, of course. She's a great famous researcher about tendinopathy, and Ebony Rio too.
Yeah.
And I think Lorimer, Moseley, Peter O'Sullivan, David Butler. Yeah, these are the incredible presenters and human beings, I think.
Yeah. I think I noticed you've got Mike Stewart, haven't you? He's
Mike Stewart.
Worked with TrustMe-Ed before.
Mike Stewart is awesome. He had made a great online course, 3 hours, of course, and also a lot of practical parts with a patient. He is interviewing a patient and he is explaining, he is educating the patient and also using metaphors, which is also a great course indeed.
Yeah, he's I think, and I don't know, I think he's notoriously not very active these days on social media. But I don't know, but I suppose he must be doing okay, because he's still very active, definitely with his workshops, definitely internationally, and doing his stuff. But yeah, it's always somebody. Again, I grew up with the Twitter explosion, and like years ago when kind of people would, when the whole kind of evidence-based thing kind of really started sinking its nails in, because thanks to Twitter, he was definitely one of the big players as well. Who was lucky enough to actually work, I think, with people like Louis Gifford. I think that's where Mike's history came from. He actually managed to work with him for a while, which was great. Cool. Okay. Well, it's 2:20 now. So tell us a little bit about, obviously, you're very much looking forward to October 30th, 31st, Nils. I'm sure that's your biggest priority at the moment.
Yeah, that's the thing in my agenda.
But after that,
but the
say
Brexit,
again?
that's also the date of the Brexit, right? If there's no...
I don't know. It's just,
I
it depends. Who knows? I mean, our government can do anything now. It can shut down Parliament. I mean, it's got total, we're almost living in a dictatorship. Do whatever he likes. It's crazy. And he got voted for. Oh, don't start me on that.
Okay.
I am grossly uninformed. I must admit, I am uninformed. But I remember watching this amazing, I thought it was amazing, quick YouTube video with Denzel Washington, who we know is kind of like, just what he says is gospel anyway. But he kind of said, these days with the media, you've got a choice. You can either listen to the news and read the papers, and you can be misinformed, or you don't bother reading it and you can be uninformed. Which one you do is up to you, because there's so much. I don't know where to look these days for what's actually happening. But I just know that we shouldn't be building walls and separating ourselves from countries. We should be doing everything we could to operate together.
I think so too.
After that, that's as basic as don't throw, treat other people as you'd like to be treated yourself. To me, it's just a basic thing. So anything which splits us up. So I apologize on behalf of the not so great Britain for distancing itself. I think it was your Prime Minister, actually, who I heard on our radio, one of our radio channels. What's his name, your Prime Minister?
His name is Mark Rutte.
Yes, I heard. I think I tweeted, can he please be our next Prime Minister? Because he just, I don't know whether he's very popular with you, but he just spoke just so much sense to me. He just seemed to.
He's also grown a lot, I think, as a Prime Minister. In the beginning, he was very right. He's still right, of course, from the right wing, but he is very collaborative, and he's awesome, I think. Yeah,
he definitely struck a chord with me. He definitely spoke about how we should all be working together, and how I don't know, I think he just satisfied me, because he kind of said, I don't understand. I mean, it's as if some people in Great Britain still think you're riding the waves and running an empire, and it's like, no, you're a tiny little country now. How are you going to bargain with the rest of the world when you're going from 9 million or whatever it is down to, it's just, he seemed to speak a lot of sense to me anyway. So don't know. Anyway, so apart from all of that, I don't know how he got into that topic. What's coming up? You said you got Lorimer Moseley coming over in June. And the website, we got anything else fantastic going up there which should incite people to join up?
Yeah, Peter O'Sullivan then, which is awesome. Chad Cook, Mike Ryman is coming up. Roger Carey, and a lot of other people who are coming for next year.
Right. Is that interview with Roger Carey, or just some of the, what have you got? How are you working with Roger?
Also in just a lecture about clinical reasoning.
Yeah, fantastic. Oh, that should be very interesting. And if people want to sign up, then is there like a trial period or something, or do they just, how's it work?
Yeah, 7 days for free. You can just sign up, put your information in there, and then you can 7 days for free, just like a normal subscription model.
Yeah.
And it is $9.99 per month, or $99 per year.
Brilliant. So for the 7 days, you get to see what's behind the vaults, what's behind the subscription line. Check it out, watch what you like, and then if you think it'll be useful to you, you can sign up. Fantastic. Simple as that. Doesn't seem
cancel anytime if you want. So it's very easy, I think.
Seems pretty good deal to me.
Yeah.
And you personally, I hear you're trying to get into running. You're not the runner's biggest fan, are you? But you're trying to get into it.
I run a lot. I run every day. I'm only running in my mind.
Oh, in your mind.
I'm not running so much. No, I don't like it so much. It's very tough for me, or difficult for me.
In what way?
Maybe my cardiovascular system could be better. I'm more like a sprinter. I played soccer a lot, tennis, and long distance I've never been good at. But maybe that's why I should be doing it, because it is you have to confront your weaknesses or becoming better with that. I think that's why I try it sometimes, but my discipline is not so good with running.
Yeah, I guess it depends. I mean, some people, you don't have to run long distances. You could focus on just shorter distances. We had a great interview with Jeff Gaudette the other day from Runners Connect about, was it Jeff or was it with, I think it was Jeff, about the relevance of the 5K distance, how people are always thinking that to prove themselves they have to run a marathon or a half marathon, whereas the advantages to the human system of being a better 5K runner are huge. And you haven't necessarily, it's not all about distance being the most important factor. So do you do park run? You've got a lovely flat, you must have some fantastic fast park runs around Holland, haven't you?
There are some beautiful parks very close here, and I do run sometimes with push-ups and pull-ups and squats. I do that sometimes, but I should be doing it more, I think.
Do you have park run over there?
Park run?
Yeah, like free Saturday morning timed 5K events. Have they made it to Holland?
I'm not sure, but I have to say I'm not so focused on these events. It could be.
I know they're international, but I'm not sure if they made it to Holland. I mean, in the UK, I've got 5 within 2 miles of my house here every Saturday morning. And the idea is it's an event, not a race. It's very much to celebrate kind of diversity, inclusion, and that sort of stuff. But they're really popular. They get a lot of people running. There's an outfit in Amsterdam called House of Running. I can't remember the name, Laurie, can't remember, but she seems to have a really nice, I nearly went over there and did some presentations actually. House of Running in Amsterdam. And I was going to go running in a big famous park somewhere in Amsterdam, which looked really nice, where a lot of runners go. But yeah, I think it's long overdue. I may well have a little trip to Amsterdam maybe next year. Anyway, what have you got in store for the rest of today, Nils? It's 3:27 where you are, so what have we got?
Today, I don't have so much plans, but I always have things to do for TrustMe-Ed and Trust Me I'm a Physio and other projects. And I always like to have a walk in the park with my audiobooks. It's all about self-improvement books, or marketing, business-wise. And because I'm a physiotherapist, I'm also good with business. Now I have to learn more about it. And I'm happy with keep learning and keep improving myself. I'm doing it every day, actually.
Yeah, fantastic. And apart from coming to the UK in October, have you got any other plans to leave the country at all and travel anywhere?
Well, the plan is to do the Physio surf camp next summer twice. The plan is I have to make it happen, of course, in Bali and in Portugal. So that would be great, I think. And we just went to Morocco in Agadir. We had the Physio surf camp with Ben Cormack, which was awesome. And for the rest, I'm going on holiday to Cyprus. My girlfriend is half Cypriotic, so that's
right. What part are you going to?
To the Greek part.
Oh yeah, what? Anywhere near Paphos in the south?
Paphos, yeah.
Oh,
Paphos.
I love Paphos. I've been there many a time. My honeymoon was in Paphos. Lovely, beautiful. I'm jealous. Where are you staying?
With her dad.
Oh right. Oh wicked. Oh no, have a lovely time. Wow, I'm jealous. Yeah, great. Yeah. And the surf camps, all details of that can be found. Sorry, the physio surfs, they can be found at TrustMe-Ed as well, or?
I just made a post yesterday about a new newsletter to get more information about these events.
Yeah.
And otherwise, I will be posting about it when it is planned. So
brilliant. Yeah. Where are you most active these days? Is it across all boards, or if someone wants to really keep in contact with you, I follow you on Instagram more than anything. Because
I'm focusing now more on Instagram.
I think that's probably one of the best places to see you. And okay. Right. Well, thank you so much for giving us an hour of your time, Nils.
Thank you.
I'm hoping that the story you've shared will kind of ring some bells with other therapists, especially new therapists who are having the same doubts. So we haven't got a perfect education system at all in the United Kingdom. I don't know about Holland. Like you say, it's just highlighting negatives and not recognizing students who maybe are a bit more introverted or a bit anxious and self-doubt. So hopefully, you're sharing your story will help other therapists, and encourage a few people to definitely go over and have a look at definitely have a 7-day free trial. There's no harm in that, and check out some of the great speakers you've got on your website. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to pop you back down in the lobby again, just sign off and say goodbye to people here. And then I'll come down and say goodbye officially to you. Okay, mate?
Bye-bye.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Right, there we go. What a lovely story, definitely. A lot of respect for Nils, a lot of honesty. And I think, again, maybe because I've kind of suffered the same kind of things of self-doubt and imposter syndrome and always learning. Sometimes you got to know when to stop learning and just enjoy what you've got for a while and not kind of, like Greg said in his post the other day, just give yourself a break now and again. But yeah, hopefully our discussion helped a lot of therapists out there. And yeah, I mean, if that's the guy who put this together and you are like that, then check out the information he's putting at TrustMe-Ed and you know, follow the Trust Me, I'm a Physiotherapist Facebook page. And yeah, I think you'll help yourself out a lot. And if you fancy a trip to Amsterdam, then I might see you as well next June. We've got Lorimer Moseley going over there. I think that would be well worth the trip. It's not that far from the UK at all if you've never been there. And the joy is it's easy to get anywhere. Like you said, there's more bicycles than people. So you just hop on a bike and you cycle. Anyway, so there we go. To sign off here, just to remind you, it is September now, September the 1st, which means that the RunChatLive International Running Conference is only, well, it's less than 2 months away now, October the 30th and 31st in Brighton, UK. It's got very real. A lot of people have signed up already, but if you are umming and erring, then now is the time to actually work out if you're free on those dates and sign up. Like I say, there are discounts available. So if you do belong to a particular organization like the Sports Therapy Association, who are actually accrediting this course for 16 CPD points. So thank you to them. But yeah, if you are a member of a particular association, then do check whether there is a discount. They've got Sportsinjuryfix members. You've got a discount. I am pretty sure that with Nils, I sorted out. I'd have to check this, but trust me, I'm a physiotherapist. If you're a subscriber there's a discount for you. So yeah, I mean, I want to make it as accessible to as many people as possible. So do check if you belong to somebody, some group. And if that group doesn't have any discount, then contact me. Let me know. I'm very happy to give out discounts. The same thing goes for runners. I'm struggling getting runners to come along, which is ironic. I'm practically paying myself to runners to come. But there seems to be some kind of barrier. Maybe it's like, it's going to be too complicated for me. No. RunChatLive is all about putting the evidence back into running injury and performance, but so that runners can understand. It's about giving therapists the tools to actually talk to runners instead of just to each other. So I would love to have runners along. So do contact me if your club is interested in coming down, traveling down. And that's about it. So anyway, there'll be loads of posts coming out. Who have we got coming up? Well, next week, 1:30 p.m, we got Paul Westwood, who is a hugely experienced triathlete coach and physio working with triathletes based in the Midlands. He works particularly now with the military and very much looking forward talking to that Paul. I say that Paul because the other Paul is Paul Coker. Those of you who are fans of the Physio Matters podcast might remember probably one of my favorite episodes, which was Paul against Paul, which was talking about rock tape. Brilliant. Paul Coker is the medical director of rock tape. Paul Westwood doesn't have much time for rock tape, well, time for kinesiology tape, but they're mates. So it was a great episode on the Physio Matters podcast. It really was healthy debate between people from different sides of the camp who were debating and talking about the research. So Paul Coke will be talking with us as well. He's coming up as a guest. We've got Derek Griffin, long awaited, who is going to be our guest in a few weeks' time as well. Really looking forward to talking to Derek. Fantastic runner, fantastic promoter of pain-focused therapy as well, looking at the whole biopsychosocial approach, not getting strung up with the structuralism. So looking forward to Derek. Izzy Moore is going to be with us as well. Massive research from Cardiff University. She's also a speaker at the conference. She's going to be with us. So yeah, pretty much bang every week, apart from the week where I'm going to be in Tunisia for the 100k Ultra Mirage. I'm not running it this year, maybe next year, not making any promises, but I'm definitely going to be there as an attendee and hopefully chat to a few people there and just soak up the fantastic event that is the Ultra Mirage El Jarid 100k in Tunisia. That's end of September. So very exciting couple of months coming up. Thank you very much for joining us. As always, if you do enjoy it, leave us a review, leave us a rating, especially on iTunes. Leave some comments. Anything we missed out or you don't like, let us know. All feedback's good. And we'll see you next week at 1:30 p.m. With physiotherapist and triathlete coach Paul Westwood. That's it. This has been Matt Phillips on RunChatLive, episode 32. See you soon. You're listening to RunChatLive podcast, putting the evidence back into running injury and performance.